Hi there, if you just finished watching the Formula One race at Silverstone, then you probably agree with me that that was one of the best finishes to a Formula One race since the 2005 Japanese Grand Prix, when Kimi Raikkonen overtook Giancarlo Fisichella right on the last lap. And it was made so exciting due to the three tire failures, all front left, on the final three laps, starting with Valtteri Bottas, who tumbled all the way down from second place to 11th, which really wrecks his chances for the World Championship. Also, Sainz, very unlucky, lap 51, something very similar. He also lost a bunch of places. And finally, even the race leader, Lewis Hamilton, having the puncture right on the last lap, almost causing him to lose the race. He was very lucky that Red Bull had called in Max Verstappen to swap his tires to go for the fastest lap, because right at the end, Max Verstappen was not that far from catching Lewis Hamilton. So had Max Verstappen not gone for the pit stop and not had a tire failure of his own, then it was very possible for Max Verstappen to win this race. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, well, this last lap really looks like one of those videos where you have different cars, say a street car, a race car, and then a Formula One car, setting off at very large time intervals, and then finally on the out of the final corner, the Formula One car catches up with all the other cars despite the huge time penalty it started off with, and wins the race. But okay, in this instance, Max Verstappen didn't quite have the speed to overhaul this 30-second gap that he had to Hamilton. But what I was really happy about was, what was interesting, just 48 hours ago, I made this video discussing the setup for a single-seater for Silverstone, and in it, this was what I said about the tire, and especially the left front. In terms of camber, you need quite a bit, and I think in terms of tires, the main challenge is keeping the left front alive, from what I remember. So, I'm really happy that what I predicted was illustrated in such a dramatic fashion by the race. And it's perhaps interesting to discuss why that is. So why is it that the left front is so hard to keep alive around Silverstone? So Silverstone is a little bit unique in some aspects. So first of all, it's full of high-speed corners, which really load the tires, because if I swap here, so the Formula One car, the limit for the Formula One car is dependent on the speed that the car is driving at the time, and the faster it drives, the more downforce it has, and the more downforce it has, the more lateral tire force it can generate from the tires. And these high-speed corners really load the tires due to the huge amount of downforce, and the tires really get tortured during these high-speed turns. And being like most tracks, being anti-clockwise, you have more right-hand turns than left-hand turns. Plus, all these very fast right-hand corners and the right-hand corners, which are such as Club and Luffield, those are corners where the car is accelerating, so the car wants to understeer, but then the driver is forcing the car to navigate the turn. So in those cases, the front left are also scrubbing. So all of this is a real workout for the left front. And the other thing which is unique, maybe a little bit unique to Silverstone, is the combination of relatively long straights, which means that the top speed is still important, and the fact that you don't have corners which are really very slow, which means that I think typically the minimum speed remains above roughly 90 kilometers per hour, meaning that traction is not as big of an issue as some other tracks, let's say Monaco, where you would want, so say a place like Monaco, you want to put the weight distribution as far back as possible for traction reasons. In Silverstone, you don't need to do that because traction isn't as much of an issue, and you really want to try and reduce the drag down the long straights. So you put the weight distribution really as much forward as possible, and try to slim down the rear wing to cut down the drag. But that means that relative to some other tracks with more load on the front tires, more weight over the front tires, you load the front tires a lot more. So front tires are loaded more heavily due to the weight distribution, plus all the high-speed right-hand corners added together means a real torture for the left front. And it's interesting to see that they all ran out of tire right towards the end. So it's interesting to see that, yeah, even Formula One engineers don't completely get their sums right despite all the data, and that's what makes the race interesting, I would say. So that's it. For more insights into car setup, subscribe and take a look at my website, racetracksetup.com. Till next time.